I'm very happy to welcome the speaker today, Maria Paola Rizzo from FAO. So welcome to all of you. So this webinar series is a part of GeoTech for Tenure. GeoTech for Tenure is an online learning program of FAO and IFAD. The program aims to support FAO and IFAD programs in finding solutions to secure tenure rights through combining participatory methods and geomatics technology. We think that our learning program is state-of-the-art. We have e-learning modules, there is a technical guide, online workshops. We have a mentoring model where participants can learn from experienced land tenure experts, and our participants also work on a specific case study on a specific IFAD project. The first edition of this learning program took place in the first half of 2021. More editions will come. We will announce them soon. So please subscribe to our emailing list. This is the IFAD Land Tenure emailing list. The link will be posted in the chat right now. So this is the first webinar of the series. As I said, it accompanies the GeoTech for Tenure learning program. We want these webinars to be short and informative and on time. We will showcase different technological solutions and service providers for land recordation. Land tenure is complex and different solutions are needed. All the land tenure experts will tell you that technology is part of the solution, but is not the solution per se. So that's why engagement with the communities and participation is fundamental. Be aware that all webinars are recorded and live streamed on YouTube, and we will share materials with you afterwards. So I'm very happy to introduce our speaker today, Maria Paola Rizzo. She is a land tenure officer and field geodata collection tool specialist at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Maria Paola, welcome. Thank you so much for joining this webinar and for introducing SOLA and Open Tenure. I had the pleasure of working, from learning from Maria Paola in the learning program. So I've learned a lot from her. Maria Paola is going to start her presentation with a short video. Then she will show a few slides, and then we will have time for questions and answer. We will also be joined by Harold Liversidge, IFAD's senior land tenure specialist. And then at the end, there will be just a short announcement of the next webinar. So now over to the video.
Every year, the Earth loses a significant portion of one of its most valuable resources, its tropical forests. One of the main issues at the heart of deforestation is insecure land tenure. Tenure refers to the rights of access and management of land and natural resources, such as forests. When tenure is unclear, the forest may be perceived as a common resource that is open to exploitation. Unfortunately, in many countries throughout the world, tenure systems are unclear and in critical need of reform. Changes must happen both at the national policy level, but also on the ground. In the northwest of Cambodia, a group of monks and villagers are strengthening tenure governance using a new technology called Open Tenure. Open Tenure is a tool to map and better understand land use. First, a team of community facilitators, composed of monks and villagers, is introduced to some of the underlying principles of land tenure, including the voluntary guidelines on the responsible governance of tenure. Next, the trainees are instructed on how to use the Open Tenure tool and to consider how Open Tenure could be used most effectively in their own community. Before going to the field, participants learn how to create a claim and to input critical data, such as names, dates and photos, to back up land tenure claims. They can also attach and store important documents such as land title agreements between households and local authorities. A meeting with the villagers is arranged to introduce open tenure and to explain in simple terms how the technology works. Together, a plan for the fieldwork is developed. In consultation with local villagers, they mark the boundaries of croplands with the tablets, using geospatial data to identify features and add waypoints on the map. As soon as a polygon is complete, the data is saved to upload it later. The teams are interested to map the agricultural fields of the villagers, to reassure them that they may continue to farm on their traditional lands inside the community forest. They also want to prevent encroachment from outsiders and make sure that current landholdings don't expand and affect the forest. The monks are strongly dedicated to protecting biodiversity. This forest is home to a wide array of threatened and endangered species, such as banteng, green peafowl, and white-shouldered ibis. As open tenure can be customised to suit the needs of individual communities, the core wildlife zones are also mapped. Once the data collection is complete, the field data can be uploaded to the server. In the future, the community may decide to formalise the tenure claims with the government, but the first step is to build the community's knowledge and internal consensus around how its land is used.
ថាដើម្បីថានិយាយថាវាមានផលប្រយោជន៍អីខ្លះហើយអាកម្មវិធីបើចង្ហនេះមានប្រយោជន៍សំខាន់ណាស់សម្រាប់ព្រៃសង់រុក្ខវិននេះសម្រាប់សហគមន៍ជាពិសេសដោយឡែកគឺក្នុងខេត្តដល់មានជ័យនេះគឺមានកិត្តិយសណាស់ដែលបានអាកម្មវិធីនេះកើតឡើងដោយសារថាមើលឃើញជាក់លាក់
In the context of a country like Cambodia, where threats to land and resources are many, sustainable and equitable management is key. Open tenure aims to improve this situation from the bottom up by giving communities a powerful tool, a tool which supports local ownership and facilitates sustainable management long into the future.
So that was the video, and now I kindly invite Maria Paola to join us. Please switch your camera on and of course your microphone, and over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Oliver. So Oliver already introduced me, and I will go straight to the presentation of the SOLA suite of application, and in particular of Open Tenure. You have just watched an introductory video explaining how Open Tenure is used and the process for using Open Tenure. Now, Open Tenure is one application, one of the SOLA suite of application. SOLA suite of application is a set of open source tools that we have developed in FAO that are aiming at improving the tenure governance. Now, it includes two groups. One group is dedicated to land administration, and it is what is usually known as SOLA. And it comprises applications, desktop applications such as registry, which aims to implement official land registry functions, combining and integrating cadastre and registration functionalities. Then we have the state land application, which aim at assisting governments and state agency to manage the property owned by the state through all the steps from the acquisition to the disposal of the land. And then we have the systematic registration application, which supports the activities of systematic registration of first registration, collecting data and going through the phase of public display of listings and maps. So these are the packages that are dedicated to formal land administration. And then we have the application that you have just seen, watched over the video, which is the Open Tenure application, which is dedicated to community tenure recording and to also land use and customary rights recording. And it is comprised of two different software. One is the Open Tenure mobile application, which runs over Android mobile devices. And then there is the community server, which provides web access to the data that is collected through the mobile application, and can manage the process to go from the uploading of the data to the validation of the data and to the production of generation of maps that can be validated. In between, you can see there is another application, which is the SOLA Admin, which provides administrative functionalities for the configuration of all the application of the SOLA suite. So next slide, please, Oliver. FAO developed the Open Tenure. So now we will concentrate and we will focus on Open Tenure. Now, Open Tenure is a free and open source solution for land and natural resource tenure. So I want to highlight that this is a solution. So it's not just the tool, but it's part of the process, of the approach, which is a participatory approach in the framework of the voluntary guidelines. So for the implementation of voluntary guidelines principles, including the fit for purpose approach. So it is a mapping tool to collect the information on the land to be mapped, and also including geospatial features for this boundary spatial definition. It can record claimant details and write all those details, capture the boundary information, and can also collect and documents and photos to support and give evidence to the claim. As you might have understand from the video, it has a flexibility in incorporating all the relevant elements of the needed exercise, and the information and collected by the Open Tenure tool and the system itself can work online and offline for data collection offline while going to the field. So you can download, for instance, satellite imageries on the mobile application and then go to the field without an internet connection. The application can give an easy spatial data collection features, allowing a low-cost application and also community participation. As I said, it is participatory process. The software has been updated in January 2021. Next slide, please. So the benefit of using Open Tenure are that this system and the solution itself and the participatory approach that it supports, it's used and can clarify, document, and safeguard the customary rights through the participatory demarcation, which includes youth and women of the communities, and it's also easy to be used, and also give the possibility for the people to increase their local understanding of the land rights and the land use, and empower also the traditional authorities and communities to carry out the process of land administration and self-government and capacity development of the community. And it can reduce having the understanding and the evidence of the land use and the land rights of the land can reduce the risks that are related to uncertain land tenure or unauthorized use of the land and the natural resources. So we are not just talking about land, we can talk also about forest and also fishermen communities. In case there is a framework, a legal framework that allow this, it can lay the foundation preparation for the eventual formal land registration. It's an affordable methodology because it's open source, and use all components are all open source, and it's easy to understand and to use, so that it can be scaled up for the customary rights recognition and protection. Next slide, please. So the system, the architecture of the system I already mentioned, it uses two different components. One is the mobile application. So the mobile application runs over Android mobile devices, is an open source, and it is used to record in the field all the relationships between people and land, and the features of the land and the natural resources, and can map them using an integrated approach, using satellite imageries and GPS points. And then there is the community server, which is the web application where all the information are then uploaded and the process can continue. Next slide, please. The components of the community server are all open source. You will receive this presentation, so you will be able to have the list of all the components. There is the Postgres database with the PostGIS extension. Is the database is LADM extended in compliance with STDM. There is a GIS component which uses also Google Earth imageries, and GeoServer for publishing the orthophoto shapefiles and all the special information. It can generate map and also certificates and reports. Next slide, please. The process we have already seen in the video goes from meeting with the communities, establishing a protocol with the communities, and then configuring the system with all the information that can be needed, then going to the field and record claims, then display to the community. Next slide, please. Then there is over the community server, there is the process of reviewing the claims, the quality review, and at the end there is final confirmation and recognition with validation from the community. And then at the end of all, there is a maintenance and updating and keeping the information updated in the community server. Next slide, please. The system has been used in several countries. Just to give you a couple, in Uganda, we have supported the government to issue certificate of customary ownership, and in Sierra Leone, the recognition of customary rights. You will find details in the list of this in the presentation that will be shared. And next slide, please. For any question, further information, you can contact me, and you can visit the site, the website, which you will receive the link for. You can watch the video, and you can access the open source software in the open source GitHub repository. Thank you very much, and open to the question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Paola. Thank you very much for this short presentation. Now we have time for questions and answers. Maria Paola and Harold Liversidge, please switch on your cameras. So I'll be reading out questions to you and so that you will respond to. So for our participants, we have in the Q&A section, in the Zoom control panel, we have a Q&A button. There you can click on it and you can ask questions. I see that some questions are already being written there. So please write your questions there. I will take them up, read them out loud, and address them to you. Maria Paola, if you could switch on your camera back on, so so that we have you also on board. And also welcome to Harold, who is IFAD's senior expert for land tenure. So the first question is from Simon. Question is, does the solution use digital imagery as a backlay within the application or as printed maps? If as digital imagery, how is the imagery provisioned to the tablets? So that's a question for you, Maria Paola.
Okay, so the solution used the digital imageries as a backlay, and digital imageries are provisioned to the tablets by downloading from the Google Earth repository. So we have a protocol to download the imageries onto the tablet. It can also use orthophoto on orthophoto, and the approach is the same. It does connect to the GeoServer and download from the GeoServer the orthophoto onto the tablets. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Paola. Then I see some more questions from Simon, but I'll take a question from Menare Royal Mabakeng. How can one use the tool in country for urban land tenure recordation? What is the interest in project for mapping and recording informal land tenure in Namibia? So I guess that Menare is working in Namibia and is interested to apply it in an urban context. Maria Paola, question is for you. Can you answer that if the tool has been applied in an urban context?
Okay, yes. So we have used the open tenure in urban context in Angola, for instance, where we have configured the system in different ways. For instance, with the institutions that are responsible for community lands in rural areas, but also with the land administration offices in the districts. So the tool is able to work also in urban areas. It depends also on the level of accuracy that is requested by the legal requirements for the information, for the special information to be recorded.
Excellent. Thank you, Maria Paola. A question from Marie Even. Do you have elements on the investment costs, time and rollout of such steps?
Yes, sure.
How much time is needed for to train the field workers? How much time does it take to engage with the community? So a question on timing and costs.
Yeah, this is a question, on the process itself. So for training, so we do different level of trainings. So one training is in case there is an institution involved, such as, the Ministry of Lands. We have done this, for instance, in Uganda, in Sierra Leone, in Guatemala. We first train the ministry staff to accompany us to the field. It takes 1 week. And then we have trainings and capacitation with the communities. First of all, is sensitization about their rights. It can include also capacitation for women rights recognition, but as just for the tool and for the use of the tool, it is again with the community is about a couple of days, additional couple of days of training on the use of the tool in the field. Usually we involve the youth from the community in order to be involved in the process, and as for the costs, in the presentation you will find some information on costs. So based on two experience from Uganda and from Sierra Leone, which are pretty different, because in Uganda we supported the recording of individual parcels, whereas in Sierra Leone we have supported the recording of family lands and community lands, so they were big parcels. So in Uganda the cost per hectares was about $8 per hectares, and in Sierra Leone it was about $11 per hectares. So, but you can find this information in the presentation, and then I think we will also share some material with the participants where this information can be provided. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. I have a question from Natalia. Was the tool ever used to support court claims or has the potential to be used in the restitution claims? So Natalia is based in NRC in Bangladesh.
Okay, it has not been yet used in such a context, but because of its flexibility, it can be used in such a context. Yeah. You need to have, first you need to have information about the current status and the previous status of the land, however. Thank you.
Excellent. Then a question again from Simon on grievance redress mechanisms. Is a grievance redress mechanism built in the process?
Yes. Okay. So you can install the community server either on local servers or on cloud-based server. So it is provided in either the type of solutions, a way for having a grievance mechanism. As I said, for more information, maybe you can contact and you will receive details by email. Thank you.
Excellent. And another question on the biggest challenges that you've been facing so far. Land tenure is complex, it gets very political, and conflict is also there. What were the greatest challenges that you faced so far?
So the biggest challenges from that we have faced are related a lot with political will and with commitment from the institutions that we have involved. So this is one aspect that needs to be taken into consideration in order to guarantee the sustainability of the work that you are doing. And also, for instance, one other challenge that we have faced is related again with the commitment from institutions, where you go for a cloud-based system in order to maintain the costs of the cloud-based once the project is over. So as to be able to have a commitment from the institution to keep on maintaining the costs of the cloud-based server. Another challenge is not to raise expectation from the community if you are not sure that your exercise is going to give recognition to their rights. So be very clear with the communities about what they will get from your exercise, because sometimes they might think that you are going to release titles, which might not be the case. So be very clear, and as I say, accompany the use of the tool with sensitization, with participatory meetings, and also involving all the stakeholders that can be, part of this exercise. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Paola. I would now like to give the word to Harold. Over to you, Harold.
Thanks, Oliver, and thanks, Maria, for really interesting presentations. As Oliver said, this is our first. We hope to do more. I think I'm just wrapping up with a few final comments as we come to the end. We hope to do more, so we will continue discussing, perhaps building up, and we'll be sharing some answers to the questions that we were not able to answer now. As Oliver said, this is about combining geoinformatics with participatory approaches. Both are equally important. I would also add to that, as important are what I call the logistical considerations in terms of mobilizing teams, even procuring equipment, training and capacity building, as Mariord highlighted, and all of these things have costs. I thought some very good pertinent questions also around data sharing, etc. Very relevant and important to address a range of considerations. So that's, I think that's all the time I have, Oliver, since we're out of time by a minute. Thank you again to everyone.
Thank you, Harold. So we couldn't address all the questions in the Q&A, but we will follow up. The questions are recorded and we will get back to you. Otherwise, if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to Maria Paola. Here is her email address, so feel free to reach out to her with additional questions. Otherwise, next week we will have the second webinar in our series. We're going to hear from Simon Norfolk about the community land value chain approach, or in short, Kavateko. I've already seen the presentation. It looks very, very interesting. So please join us next week, same time. We hope you enjoy these short webinars. We hope we find them informative. And otherwise, have a nice day and see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks all. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.